Good. Well, on Tuesday, not that it's important to what we're doing here, which we're going to do a review on the Welder, but on Tuesday I twisted my leg. It was a non-industrial boo-boo. It's getting better. Crutches are helping me to not cause problems. I can walk 2-3 foot at a time without crying out in pain, so it's getting a lot better. I don't know. It just twisted. Just nothing happened. Jumping up in a pickup. No big deal. Maybe I should, dogs do it better than I did. Anyway, so we're going to start on the review here, and I'm just going to kind of hang out, and the guys will be opening the boxes for starters with the Howie's knife. We always use Howie's knives for things. This one is our free sample that we got for the review. We bought a second one because we've done reviews on other welders of the 110 volt series before, and we like to parallel them and see what you can really do with them instead of what you do with just one. So the second one I actually bought under my name. It looks like it came from the same warehouse and everything, though. Doesn't really look like it's any different, but it didn't come to Howie's Machine Shop. It just came to me personally at my house. So anyway, go ahead, open them up. And these, along with being welders, they have a plastic stitching. They call it a plastic welder option that's part of the machine, but it's little stitches, little staples that you melt into the plastic. And of course, we'll play with that a little bit and see how that works out. Yeah, they gave us some rod.
Did they?
One rod.
One rod, 332. I'm guessing it is going to be, it doesn't really say. It's a writing that I'm not familiar with, maybe European or Japanese or something. It's a J422. And I think it's 7014 or 6014 is my guess. I'll bet you it will run better as far as starting than most of the rod that we normally run on them. But as those don't usually run as smooth, I like running the other rod. I like running the 18 series. So, does it use the same DINS connectors as what we were using before?
This must be the plastic welder.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to find some plastic that we can break. It's not quite as nice as what the stick was on the...
Yes welders.
No, the Yes Welder actually had crappy. Those weren't very good. The ones I bought way back. Dragsters. The Dragsters. The Thermal Art Japanese made. So yeah.
Cute little connections. They fit nice and tight, though.
Let me look at one of them. I didn't look at the end up. Well, yeah, that's a standard DINS. That'll be the same as the, we've got the cables set up already for the paralleling.
Fits a little bit nicer than the Yes Welder, too. Clamps.
It's better quality cable.
Yeah.
Cables.
The stuff with the welder.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just fire it up and see how it is with weld. We go standard welding. Goes to 120 because we're on 210. It knows what we're hooked on. Yeah, it will only go to 120 for amperage. It won't, which none of the others put out that much amperage anyway, but that's all the further it will let us go. Since we're actually trying to do 332 to start with, try it at where it should be for 332. Generally, I've had to set all of these 110 welders a little higher than what they claim for the amperage to get it to work correctly. And
Chinese rod. It's got Chinese writing on it. It's literally Chinese rod.
We got that box handy that came from Don's?
No, it's well, yes, it's handy. It's just right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. Everybody's eyes on the hot spot.
Oh yeah, you know it. That seemed to start up pretty good. Try that with the 7018 rod.
That looks pretty nice.
It didn't sound bad at all. That's the one thing I've had as a complaint of most of these 110 ones, because I'm not starting it, but it seemed to start pretty good for Austin. And I know he used the other Welder before, and when you were doing those guards, and it was a little finicky.
It was real touchy. It did a lot better with a larger rod for initializing the start, but this is really nice. It's actually really nice. But I don't have a flag hammer over here.
Okay. Well, let's turn it up all the way and try an 1/8 inch, which they claim would, 120 should run 1/8 inch. Whether it will or not, none of the others really have. You can kind of cold strike them and make them run, but not run good. Not on 110. We'll see. It should work according to the number. It'll be interesting to see if it really does. If it really does, I'm going to have to say I'm, at least impressed about that for starters.
Cute little handle with the giant rod.
Yeah.
All right. That was more me. The second,
Cold.
yeah, definitely cold.
Yeah, it's not real 120 amps. But I've just never seen that on any of these 110s, and that's where I get into the whole thing about paralleling them. Let's break out the other one. Let's hook them in parallel. Our cables are up there.
Oh, up there. Bert, you want to grab this one here?
Yeah.
It definitely was cold before.
My wife.
Too. I walked, then I jumped into my pickup. Dogs do it better than I did. I went actually in the back of the pickup and looked at my life. And it took me exactly passionately, and yeah, I did it for a couple of days. I'm getting better. I can actually walk 2 feet at this point, but the crutches keep me from hurting myself more.
The sparks went down my pant leg.
Yeah.
But it did it. It didn't like it, but it did it.
That's about as good as I was getting with the other one. I think my years of skill allowed me. I ran about a half a rod. And,
Oh, it could have gone farther. It
Yeah.
went down my pants.
oh, yeah.
It's just
Okay, now
this is 532 8018.
it's been wet too.
Yeah.
That's a real nasty one. But you're probably way too hot. But you can try it.
too hot? To what? 100 on each?
Let's see. Yeah, let's try 100 on each one. See if their settings are at all. But
If you start cranking this dial real fast, it starts jumping by tens.
Yeah. Strictly a digital input. What do you think? You need more?
Well, it's glowing pretty heavily underneath it.
I meant how well the prod ran.
I think it ran great. It actually did really well.
Huh.
I'm actually quite happy with that. Oh. We did. Breaker. We tripped a breaker.
Oh, somebody did the wrong thing over here.
That was me.
We're using the same plug that they've got here. I think we use a different plug.
I don't know.
I think that was a 220 30 amp. We got 220 50 amp.
It's doing well enough. It's making the stinger hot.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's try, our plastic welder on one of them. Here, we don't need, obviously, both of them. Plastic doesn't take that much. Normal thing you're doing.
We don't need broken plastic. We can glue a dwell meter together.
Yeah.
You got the camera not on us.
Check it. Oh, don't do somebody.
Oh
might actually
yeah.
want it.
Oh yeah. No, we're totally seeing this cool classic dwell meter thing here. I'm gonna weld it shut.
Temperature.
Yeah.
This is bent right out of the box. So first, it's. Can you see that on the camera? Okay.
Just turn it off.
Yes. I don't know what it's gonna do if we do anything weird. Let's see, it's spinning around. Sure, it takes its time to turn off.
Yeah. Faster as this charge up.
Cool down. Well, the staples are honestly a little wider than they should be.
Or do those
No,
supposed to
will
come off
it
match
shock
the
me?
staples? No.
Well,
Like you said, it's bent.
parallel
It
is
Turn
not
signal's on.
parallel to the staples. Parallel on this thing is not.
Make it go into them. I don't mean to be parallel. Maybe they figured I'm imagining that 2 is the higher temperature. Yeah.
This is bent right out of the box. It's heating up. First, it's.
So it heats up quick.
Can you see that on the camera? Okay.
Wait for it to cool off.
Aha! So there's 2 settings.
Yep. 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Well, 2 really doesn't mess around.
Staples are all the same, I take it. That was one thing I didn't notice where you got extra staples if you were going to work more with that.
Well, if you can get generic ones too.
I think you need to just spread that out further. It stays. Yeah. You're the operator. I'm just the observer.
Number 2 heats up very, very quickly.
Number 2 probably for bigger, thicker plastic. You could get a better
It works.
attachment on that too, long term, obviously, if you smushed the plastic back over the wire a little bit more instead of just strictly putting it in. If you took a screwdriver and something, and
These really don't want to bend out wider.
is it supposed to snap off or are we supposed to cut them off?
I don't know. It's got little dimples in it, and I don't know if they're dimples from the machine bending it or if it's actually dimples for snapping it off. I don't know. I've watched little random videos about this from other people, and oh, there it
Okay.
goes. Yeah, no, it's supposed to snap off. I'm just doing it in the wrong direction here. These are some nasty tire poppers. If you drop these, you are in a bad time. Yeah, I wish that they had something like this that would actually work on really thin plastic for my jet sled that's got holes in it.
Well, we have some plastic welders separately, right?
Yeah, I just think it's too thin to bother with. But it'd be good for like
And the-
four-wheeler snow machine.
The wire going across there, you don't need to have skill of welding. You don't have to depend on. You got wires hooking it together when you're done. I call it more of a stitching than welding, but they called it a plastic welding.
It's 100% a stitcher.
But okay, let's go back in the back our toolbox where we've got all the meters and we've got different little clip wires for 110 and stuff. Let's see if we got enough stuff, plug-in cords there and things that we can hook up 220 to this maybe without too much trouble. Try and put 220.
The label master. Assault labeler. Okay.
Well, it should be slightly hot if it's a real 200 amps that we're putting out.
Well, it starts a little cold, but it runs okay-ish. It runs pretty good. It's not the best in the world, but it'll certainly weld your gate.
Just for kicks, since we're already set up on 220, let's see, we need the bigger cables with them. I was going to say we could bring down one of those other 205s. Because it didn't impress me that much with 3/16 on the 220.
Where's the fire dog?
He's right here.
Okay, he's not gonna be on fire?
No, probably not.
Good.
Wait, what you in that?
Way cold. Way cold.
That's what I'm saying. I was impressed with the other one. Even though we do get money for somebody buying them.
Well, yeah, results are results. Money aside, it's actually better.
Yeah.
Long term,
Now,
I don't know.
on the other hand, we are going to do a production run of welding with these two machines. They ran the 532, you know, just with the... Well, would actually be interesting, we could do something we've never done before since we're set up on, we could run, since this one runs on 220, well, we could try that both ways. We could try welding 100 of them with the 220 with just one machine. And also doing the multiple 110 machines like we did before for a durability test. None of these are rated for the duty cycle we end up running them to. We overwork stuff on purpose when we test it sometimes.
It's real world testing. Are you gonna stop welding every 2 minutes to let your stupid machine cool down because it sucks? Or are you gonna just keep welding because you got things to do?
So after the fact of having welded with this a little bit and worked with the plastic welding part, plastic stitching really, even reading the manual now, came back, decided we'd turn it on, explain a little bit. First turn it on, it's going to take it a little bit to warm up because it's computer controlled. And we have, takes a little bit, it came in here flashing at 200 at first, now it's down at 100. It was at 200, that's where you could turn it up to if you were running it on 240 volts. But we're running on the 110, 120, and so 120 is as far as it will go. We ran some 1/8 inch in our previous testing and it seemed a little bit cold. I have yet to see a 110 volt welder that really runs 1/8 inch 7018 well. Even though they say they go to 120 amps, it just doesn't quite seem there. Now, at that point, we had not realized we had so many adjustments over here. So, this one here, MMA, is manual metal arc welding. Sometimes they go MMAC. These are more, in the US, we usually go shielded arc welding, SAW. All kinds of different abbreviations for stick welding. If we push it again, then it's for lift TIG, which I don't really know how much that changes things because a normal arc setting works for lift TIG. But they have it on there. We're not hooked up to a TIG torch. We're not doing that. And then the bottom one is for the hot stapler. So most of the time, for stick welding, that's going to be just in the top. The thing we were not aware of, besides our 120 for the amperage, was that as a button in the middle, you push it and you can have a hot start. It was at 50 apparently is where the normal setting is, so we're going to just try it at 100 for fun. And then arc force, I'm going to just crank that up to 100 also. And I don't know what the VRD, oh, we're back to current. Okay. We don't have a choice on VRD anyway, whatever VRD is. Or maybe VRD is just telling us that that's what this display is for. So we have current there, we're at 100, we're at 100, back to current at 120, and we will see how that goes for starters. Because since it was cold, the hottest on everything should be the best if it is going to be liking the 1/8 inch rod. Not impressed with the holder. It's functional, not that great. Austin liked the ground. I was not impressed with the ground either. But I haven't been impressed with the grounds or stingers on any of these. It did not come with a lousy helmet, which some of the others I've gotten on the 110-volt welders came with an absolutely worthless helmet, which actually bothers me because they wasted money they could have put somewhere else. Even if it was just in their pocket, I get annoyed at totally wasted money. It is running better than any of the other little welders I've seen for 1/8 inch, but not great. It was better at first too. It tended to back off a little bit. I'm curious if the computer, not left at the same settings, okay. Just for kicks, I'm gonna turn the hot start down to 0 and see what difference that makes. Not much on my scale of how things happen. Okay, so let's turn the arc force for fun down to 0. That made a difference. I like the high arc force better. That one made a difference. I would think hot start should make a difference. It wasn't worse at 0. Or 1, whatever it was at there, but I didn't notice it being better. So you can play with it, figure what you want to do. Those are basically settings for you. The idea of the arc force is so that different people describe different things. As near as I could tell from people, it's supposed to give you a little bit more amperage when your arc is closer. Years ago, I heard it gave you more amperage when it was further away. I don't know. It seemed to run a little better with the arc force turned up. It's still not all the way what I would want for 1/8 inch rod. It's definitely on the lower end, but better than I've gotten on any other 110-volt welder just running 110. And that's our control things there that we didn't put in the video so far. We will do some serious hardcore welding using a couple of these in parallel long term, see if we can do real industrial welding with them the same way we did with the Yes welders. And so far I like this better than the Yes welders. But we'll report more later on. We just wanted to get something out since we've had them sitting here for a couple weeks. You can see I'm not on crutches today. Yesterday when I was in the video on crutches, so I'm being a little cautious not to twist my leg again, but walking works. It's nice.